I wanted to do a video on weathering, and not that I am talented enough to do weathering, but I'm definitely interested in having it on my layout because it does add a level of realism to the layout itself. And there's two gentlemen that I found that are relatively near to me. I live in the Southeast, and one person is Steve Phetterplace in Tennessee, and then the other person is Hieke in New Jersey. And Harry does all of the weathering on steam engines, as well as a myriad of other cars like passenger cars and rolling stock, diesels. And Steve Phetterplace does rolling stock and diesels. He, best to my knowledge, he does not do steam engines. So I use both of them, and I wanted to do a comparison between the two, just as a frame of reference. I'm not advocating one or the other. I use both of them. I paid the full price that they charged, didn't let them know I was doing a video. So just for full disclosure, I don't get anything for free, and I'm not, like I said, advocating one over the other. But, if you watch this video, then perhaps you'll be able to come to your own conclusions. And at the end of the video, I'll provide their contact information. So the first, I did 3 cars for Steve Phetterplace, and then 3 boxcars for Harry Hieke. And there is a difference, a noticeable difference. And let's just look at a New York Central that Steve did, New York Central PS1, a Pullman Standard 1 boxcar. And Steve does great detail on a boxcar. And the other thing that I wanted to disclose is when I asked both Steve and Harry to do the weathering, I really did not provide any guidance. I didn't say light weathering, I didn't say medium, I didn't say heavy, nor did I provide any type of photograph or reference of which they will work from. If you have a photograph and said, I want my particular item to look like this, they will do their best to match it. But I figured these guys have done thousands of these cars. They know how to do it best, and they wanted to provide their best foot forward because it is a representative of their work. So I just asked for weathering and went from there. So I just tried to be fair on my request from both of them. So when Steve does his weathering, again, he does a little bit of his trademark, putting a little bit of his signature at each boxcar, and I haven't studied it enough to really look to see what it says. I think it's dated, but he also, as standard, puts what I call inspection stickers on the doors, and in many cases, if there's a freight load, he will put some information inside the freight load. Now, the other thing that I like what Steve does is he does augment the floor of the PS1. And so let's go over to Chesapeake and Ohio that he did. And again, Steve seems to use darker colors, which brings out a lot of the detail. And again, Steve's little trademark watermarking, if you will. If you're a photographer, watermarking is you just leave a little initial there at the corner of the picture. But anyways, again, his inspection sticker, and then this particular load does have a freight load, and you can see he's got and my camera, I'm not sure if my camera is really picking that up or not, but again, you can see where he's added a level of detail inside the boxcar, and again, you can see where he has painted the floor of the boxcar itself. Now, moving over to Harry's work, you could see a difference. And again, I wanted to use two PS1s that were identical in color, although they're different numbers. But they're both Chesapeake and Ohio, and they're both Tuscan. And by looking at them, you could see that there's a little bit of a variation of coloring when it comes to the weathering, where Steve is a little more darker colors, and Harry seems to use more grays and what I would call kind of like a rosy orange color to simulate rust. What I like about Harry's is he does do a little bit of airbrush work to make the paint seem to run a little bit. But again, you can see that it is somewhat lighter in color than what Steve has done. And Harry does not do anything with the floor at all. But again, you don't want the cars to look identical either. So on a lighter car, you could see more of the colors that Harry works with respect to the the grays and the rosy orange color simulating the rust. And then if you add a little, if you add some figures and some accessories to each item, I mean, it makes each item come alive almost. And definitely adds to the realism. The one other thing that I want to say is that price points, and again, I'm not looking to share exactly what I paid for them, other than the fact to say that Steve is higher priced than Harry is, and the one negative that I'll throw Harry's way is that Harry's awfully busy. Harry does a lot of work for a lot of people, and so his turnaround time consequently is a little greater than Steve's. So, and again, me being in the Southeast, shipping from Tennessee to my address is a lot quicker than New Jersey to my address. So that adds a little bit to it also. But I'm pleased with both of them, and it's really what your preference is. But either way, if you go with Steve or if you go with Harry, I think you'll be happy either way. And if you have other people that you're aware of that does weathering, please share that. I'm interested to see what other people do. And I probably have a few more items that I want to weather before I call it quits. But when some things are weathered, they definitely look pretty outstanding. And I have to say, it is an art. I did attempt to do this myself with a Western Pacific PS1, and you could certainly tell that I'm an amateur and I have no idea what I'm doing. Thanks.